Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about nutrition at each stage during the life cycle. So last week I had you review the 6 nutrients and their functions in the body. Before we get started talking about each stage of the life cycle, we're going to review one more concept that you should have learned in Foods 1, and that is nutrient dense. So nutrient dense means that a food has 10% or more of vitamins and minerals and is under 200 calories per serving. Now, I'm not saying that nutrient-dense foods are things like fruits and vegetables, even though they are. All right, a lot of foods do fall under this category, like breakfast cereal. Even if it's Captain Crunch, if you read the label, it has tons of vitamins and minerals, and even with milk, it's under 200 calories per serving. So don't think that I'm saying we need to eat leaves, twigs, and berries for nutrient-dense foods. A lot of foods are, but they become really important in different stages of the life cycle. So in one of your assignments later this week will be how to read food labels, and so just remember nutrient dense. All right, we're going to start with pregnancy. So with pregnancy, you need to increase folic acid at least 6 weeks before you become pregnant. All right, the reason you need more folic acid is because it prevents birth defects of the spinal cord, like spina bifida. And it's important that you have that before you get pregnant, because once the woman figures out she's pregnant, it's usually 6 weeks later, and it's too late, and the spinal cord is already in place. So be a planner. If you're engaging in an activity that leads to pregnancy, take a vitamin. All right, because once you figure out you're pregnant, it's too late. A couple other things. Calcium and iron become really important during pregnancy, and you're going to notice as we talk about the different life cycles, these 2 nutrients are always the one we want to focus on. So just remember calcium and iron. When you're pregnant, it's only about 300 extra calories a day. We no longer think that you need to eat for 2. All right, it's just 300 extra calories, which is like a peanut butter sandwich and a glass of milk. That's all it is. So you're not eating like a lot of food. Now, most women should expect to gain about 25 pounds during pregnancy. All right, but that's per baby. So if she's having twins, it's 50 pounds. Triplets, 75. For heaven forbid, quadruplets, it's 100 pounds. So expect to gain about 25 pounds per baby. All right, once the baby's born, remember that breast milk is best. It is the perfect mix of carbs, protein, and fat. All right, and it even kind of comes out at different times. When they first start feeding, it's the carbs and then the protein, and then the last thing is fat. It's like nature's perfect food. Now, I understand that breastfeeding for a lot of people is difficult, especially if the moms work. So even if you can just breastfeed for those first couple of days, even while you're still in the hospital, that will be beneficial, because that first milk that comes in is called colostrum, and it has lots of immune things that the mother passes on to the baby. Those immune things protect against like colds and flu and pink eye, but it also prevents cancer later in life. Not only for the baby, but also for the mother. So breastfeed for as long as you can. If you can't, your baby will still be happy and healthy with formula. Just breastfeeding is best nutritionally. All right, at about 5 to 6 months is when they tell you to first start introducing solid foods. And the first solid food is usually iron fortified rice cereal. All right, the reason that you want iron fortified is because one thing that breast milk is kind of low in is iron, and the baby has enough stores up until about 4 to 6 months. And so after that, you need to start introducing it into their diet so they keep their iron levels high. Usually you thin it with a little bit of breast milk or a little bit of formula so it's super runny, and then as they get better eating solid foods, you make it a little bit thicker. All right, then when you start introducing things like bananas and carrots and peas, make sure you introduce them one at a time so you can check for allergies. So typically what your pediatrician recommends is that you take, like say, pears, and you give them pears, and then you wait 3 days, and then you can introduce a new food. All right, that way you're just making sure that they're not allergic to anything. All right, once they become 2, we kind of consider them children. So remember that they're active and growing, and they need those nutrient-dense foods in small amounts often. And so snacks are important for little kids, all right? They are not going to just be happy with 3 meals a day. They need snacks throughout the day, but they need to be healthy, nutrient-dense snacks. All right, serving sizes for kids up until they're about 8 or 9 is a little bit different. I want you to think of 1 tablespoon for each year of the child's life. So if you have a 3-year-old, all they're going to manage to eat in one sitting is about 3 tablespoons. All right, now there is always those kind of freaky kids that can eat a Big Mac at 2, but they're the exception, not the rule. All right, it's 1 tablespoon for each year of life until they're about 7 or 8, then they can eat about 2/3 of an adult-sized serving. Now set the example. Children watch and learn from you, all right? If you never drink milk or eat broccoli, they're not gonna drink milk or eat broccoli either. So if you have bad eating habits, they're gonna pick those up. Like you can't sit at the table and be like, you need to drink your milk while you're drinking a Mountain Dew, all right? You need to set the example. Make meals fun, all right? So when you were little, maybe your parents called broccolis trees or had like some weird way to get you to eat food, cut your food in different shapes and things. Just make it fun. All right, kids are more likely to eat foods that have bright colors, different textures, and in different shapes. So just make it fun. A lot of time kids prefer to eat with their hands, so keep that in mind when you're like planning meals, that forks and knives and spoons might not be the best option. All right, when you start to introduce new foods, like say you want them to eat asparagus for the first time, a couple things to keep in mind. Do it one at a time. Like don't try and be like, today we're gonna have asparagus and Brussels sprouts, because they aren't gonna eat either of those. So do it one at a time. All right, and then do it at the beginning of the meal when they're the most hungry. If you wait until the very end to have them try something, they're full, they're not gonna wanna eat it. So give it to them at the beginning. Couple other things to keep in mind. Don't use food as a reward or punishment. Like never say if you eat all your broccoli you can have ice cream, because that kind of like subconsciously tells the kid broccoli's bad and ice cream's good, so I'm gonna have to suffer through one to get to the other, and you don't want to do that. And then offer them water instead of sugary drinks. Kids don't need soda, all right? They don't need Kool-Aid. They need water or milk, and then 100% juice if you do want to have like something sweet in there, but they don't need those sugary drinks. All right, from 13 to 19, we're in adolescence, all right, and this is the second most rapid growth period during life. Infancy is the first, and then you grow a lot during your teenage years. So you need an increased need in all nutrients, especially iron and calcium. Again, there's iron and calcium showing up again. We need more of that while we're growing. Calcium for our bones, iron for our blood. Teenage girls are notoriously anemic, which means they don't have enough iron, so they need to pay attention to those 2 nutrients. Now, when you're going through a growth spurt, you know, your parents know because you eat them out of house and home, so allow for extra amounts of nutritious foods. Don't fill up on things like chips and soda when you're super hungry, like throw in some carrots, some apples. All right, avoid high sugar and high fat snack foods, sorry. All right, and then drink water instead of sugar, caffeine, and carbonated drinks. We really need to drink more water, guys. Let's focus on the water. All right, adult. They need the same amount of nutrition, but they need fewer calories. So this is where nutrient dense comes in, because they are not as active as teenagers, or you're not as active as an adult as you were as a teenager. So you still need the nutrients, but you just don't need as many calories because you're not burning them. Choose a variety of healthy, low-calorie foods, and then make sure you're making regular physical activity a priority. All right, after about age 55 and up, you enter your elderly years, and they need good nutrition because it helps keep them healthy. All right, it prevents the different diseases that old people kind of like are prone to get, like high blood pressure, things like that. And it helps them stay active and energetic. So their calorie needs go even less because they're not as active, but their nutrition needs rise. So they need those nutrient-dense foods. The ones that they need more of is they need more calcium to maintain their bone strength, vitamin D, because vitamin D and calcium work together, and then they also need more B12. B12 gives you energy. By itself, it doesn't give you energy, but it helps you digest your food more efficiently so that you have more energy. So those are the nutrients that the elderly need to pay attention to. Now, their thirst signals decline with age. so they don't feel as thirsty as they did when they were younger. So they need to make sure that they're getting those 8 cups of water, whether it's in milk, water, juice, things like that. And you can also encourage them to have more water if they eat soups, smoothies, and cooked cereals. Just anything to make sure that they're staying hydrated. Okay, a lot of elderly people are on special diets like low fat and low sodium because of those health conditions. And then malnutrition is a huge concern for the elderly that live alone because they forget to cook or they forget to eat. So a lot of our elderly population in this country is malnourished. So there are different programs available through the community, like Meals on Wheels. If you drive down Utah Avenue about 4:30, 5 o'clock, you get behind the Meals on Wheels van, right, because they're going to that assisted living center that's on Utah Avenue. If you're in Overlake by theirs, sometimes you see the Meals on Wheels. So there's also a program that I believe the Catholic Church offers where you can take an elderly person shopping or go shopping for them so that they have a chance to get nutritious food. All right, here's a quick video that I'm going to link actually in Canvas. So if you will watch that video, and then you have one more activity I need you to do. So go back to Canvas and click through the video and click on the activity. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.